Now from the Tennessee Theater in Knoxville, Tennessee, get ready for the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
They tried to tell her what she couldn't do. She had to look beyond their words of doubt to make her dreams come true. A dream so big it had no place to hide. She had a reservoir of faith and hope that could not be denied. Against the odds, she found a way to win, drawing on the strength and the courage deep within. She had to try a little harder. She had to reach a little higher. She had to run a little faster. She had to walk through the fire. She had to be a little stronger. She had to pray a little longer. 'Cause nothing is impossible, it seems, when a little girl starts to dream. So here and now the dream has come of age. Standing here in this magic moment, we turn another page. She's doing things that never have been done. And you can tell by her intensity there's more dreaming yet to come. The world is seeing things they've never seen. No, standing so much taller on the shoulders of her dream. She had to try a little harder. She had to reach a little higher. She had to run a little faster. She had to walk through the fire. She had to be a little stronger. She had to pray a little longer. 'Cause nothing is impossible, it seems, when a little girl starts to dream. Honoring the past, celebrating now, looking to the future and all her dreamers.
Welcome to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in Knoxville, Tennessee. For more than 20 years, the Hall has been preserving the history of the game. The coaches, the players, the trailblazers of the game. Legends are enshrined in the only facility of its kind dedicated to all levels of women's basketball, from the early days to the modern game. Our exhibits showcase and educate visitors from across the world. At the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, we honor the past, celebrate the present, and promote the future.
Of course, I would have to be the one to follow that. The only way to follow that is by saying, welcome to the 2023 Women's Basketball Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm Bo Williams from WAT 6 on your side here in Knoxville. It is great to see everybody out here tonight. WAT has been a proud media partner with the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame for a long time, and finally, it's my turn. Lori Tucker's been out here, other members of the station, but now it is my time to welcome everyone, and I am so honored to be here tonight. You know, when I was walking up here to the Tennessee Theater, I was thinking, what did I want to say? And the first thing that popped in my mind was before coming to Knoxville in 2002 to anchor the news, I was a sportscaster for 13 years, and part of that time I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where I had the honor of covering Sue Gunter and the LSU Tigers. Sue was a special person to me. Before practice, we would talk. If she would see me in the athletic office, she would say, hey, Bo, come up to my office here for a moment when you're done. And I'd go up there and we'd sit down and we would talk about family, but then we would talk basketball. And we wouldn't talk about our team, we wouldn't talk X's and O's, we wouldn't talk about the next opponent for the Tigers. We would talk about the game. She was so passionate about the game and making the game better, making the women's game better, making just basketball in general better. She wanted to fill the Pete Maravich Assembly Center every single night in Baton Rouge. And that passion just, I could feel it, sitting there talking to her each time, and I loved our conversations. Recently I took a look at the numbers. The latest NCAA women's basketball tournament, had 9.9 million viewers? It's the most ever. ESPN reported that this year's WNBA draft was the highest watched since 2004. All I could think about was that Sue Gunter is smiling. She's dancing up there. She is loving what she's seeing. It's sad she's not with us anymore, but she's just across the way here in Knoxville over at the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame as a member of the class of 2000. And that is something that's very special to me because I cherish every moment that I had a chance to be with her and talk with her. And I know, when we look at those numbers and we see the viewership, and we know that there are some amazing players and coaches, front office personnel, university officials, referees, if you want to call them. So many people that take part in the great game, right? From the grassroots level to middle school, high school, AAU, college, international. They're just doing amazing things and making this game grow every day. And while they're doing amazing things, they couldn't do it without the class of 5 that we're going to honor tonight who have made their mark in this game. Sports evolves just like life, right? We take steps. You had that first group, and they raised the bar, and then the next group. The group we have tonight took the bar up to here, and now the people that are in the game today are trying to raise that bar even higher, and that's the great thing about all sports, right? So again, to all of you that are being honored tonight, inducted into the Hall of Fame, I say thank you for what you've done for the women's game, for what you've done for the game of basketball as a whole. We appreciate it very, very much. So with that, I'm going to turn the podium over. If you're from Knoxville, this person doesn't need an introduction. You know who I'm talking about. You'll know who it is when he walks out here. But for those of you from faraway lands, like Minnesota, Illinois, wherever you're coming from, please welcome to the podium the Mayor of Knox County, Mr. Glenn Jacobs.
Well, good evening. On behalf of Knox County, welcome to this year's Women's Basketball Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Here in Knox County, we have a storied history of women's basketball, much of that thanks to a remarkable individual named Pat Summitt. Now, in case y'all don't know, we're real proud of Pat. I mean, think about it. Winning one collegiate national championship in any sport at any level is a phenomenal achievement. Winning 2 ranks you among the very best ever. And winning 3, much less a three-peat, 3 in a row, I mean, as my friends in New York say, forget about it. Who wins 8? I mean, who does that? The icons, the legends, people like John Wooden, the dude from Connecticut, who shall remain nameless in these parts, and Pat Summitt. I've heard it said that Pat and the others immortalized in this hollowed hall are inspirations to young women. That's only partly right. Any competitor who possesses the drive, the passion, the work ethic, the persistence, the dedication, who refuses to be anything less than the very best at what they do, they are an inspiration to everyone striving for excellence in their chosen field of endeavor. So to this year's inductees, congratulations, and thank you for being an inspiration to all of us. And now it is my very great pleasure to welcome to the stage the voice of the hall, Debbie Antonelli.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but some of you might want to hire the beau or the mayor for some pregame or halftime speeches. I mean, like, we're ready to go, all right? This is going to be fun. This is already a start of a great evening, and we've had a terrific weekend with all the inductees. So welcome on behalf of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. I'm pleased to be your MC once again. Last year I was fortunate enough to be in the class of 22 and stood here in front of you, and it's pretty nerve-wracking to do that. So the teleprompter helps. But let me tell you this, I'm excited to be here, I'm glad to be back, and I'm very excited about the class of 2023. And here to help me welcome in the class are some of the Hall's past inductees. Please stand as I call your name and remain standing until everyone is introduced. Jody Conrad. Trish Roberts. Holly Warlick. Lee Plarsky. Sylvia Hatchell. Debbie Ryan. Seal Berry. Patty Broderick. Dr. Jill Hutchinson. Pearl Moore. Val Ackerman. Mickey DeMoss. Carolyn Bush Roddy. Beth Bass. Joan Cronin. And Carol Stiff. Ladies and gentlemen, our past inductees. At this time, I'd like you to please join us in remembering the lives of 4 dear friends of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame who've passed away since our last induction ceremony. Class of 1999 inductee and founding board member, Betty Jo Graber. Class of 2001 inductee and founding board member, Phyllis Holmes. Class of 1999 inductee and former board member, Billy Moore. Class of 2017 inductee, Louise O'Neill. Let's please share a moment of silence to remember our friends. Thank you.
in partnership with the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. The past, present, and future will collide as the champions travel to Knoxville to win it all and join the legends of the Hall. The biggest weekend in girls basketball history. Honor the past, celebrate the present, and promote the future of women's basketball. When history calls, take your shot at the ladies' ball.
Our first award of the evening goes to a group that has provided advocacy, support, education, and recognition of coaches for over 40 years. The 2023 Trailblazer of the game is the Women's Basketball Coaches Association. Joining me on stage is the WBCA Executive Director, Danielle Donahue, along with her predecessor on wheels, Beth Bass, and WBCA past presidents Charlie Turner Thorne, Sylvia Hatchell, and the association's first president, Dr. Jill Hutchinson. They each are getting a pin, and that is what is in these blue boxes.
Thanks, Debbie. The Women's Basketball Coaches Association is honored to receive the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame's Trailblazer Award. On behalf of the entire WBCA family of coaches, I thank the Hall for recognizing our association for its contributions to this game we all love. The WBCA was founded during turbulent times in the evolution of our sport, when a group of 10 women's basketball coaches met in Syracuse, New York in July 1981. Their profession was in disarray, and they needed to pivot. Friends and peers were at odds over whether the sport would be better served by remaining part of the AIAW or moving under the auspices of the NCAA. Those 10 coaches knew their unity was far more important to the future of the sport than which organization governed it. They knew that the coaches would continue to lead, protect, and grow the game as they always had done, but only if they did so together. How best to accomplish this? By doing what their men's counterparts had done more than 50 years earlier, by forming a professional association through which they could educate, network, and recognize each other, and most importantly, speak with one voice. According to the minutes of that first meeting, these coaches, our trailblazers, were present. Mary D. Stanislaw, Jan Dykhouse, Fran Garman, Teresa Grentz, Nora Lynn Finch, Sanja Hogue, Jill Hutchison, Colleen Matsuhara, C. Vivian Stringer, and Pat Summit. Together, with the assistance of Hunter Lowe and Greg DeNovas of the Eastman Kodak Company, this group agreed to a name, Women's Basketball Coaches Association, and formed a committee to develop a framework for this new organization. The group met again on September 1, 1981, outside Philadelphia. Joining them were other coaches that were not present in Syracuse, including Kay Yao, who had been coaching Team USA at the World University Games in Romania at that time. They approved the recommendations of the organizational committee. They selected a provisional board of directors. They elected Jill Hutchison as their first president.
Coach Stringer volunteered her brother, attorney Tim Stoner, to serve as the new organization's general counsel, a position he held until 1998, and he incorporated the association. And the new board appointed Betty James, interim executive director. Thus, the WBCA was born. The fledgling association succeeded in its mission to unite coaches. In the 41+ years since that day, the WBCA has grown from 212 to more than 4,000 members. The WBCA has been a part of some pretty remarkable things, helping start both the K-Yow Cancer Fund, which remains our charity of choice, and this Hall of Fame. The association's past presidents include Women's Basketball Hall of Fame inductees Gino Auriemma, Doug Bruno, Sherry Cole, Lynn Dunn, Jim Foster, Fran Garman, Teresa Grintz, Sylvia Hatchell, who's with us on stage, Jill Hutchison, we can't say her name enough, who's with us on stage, Jennifer Rosati, Marcia Sharp, Barbara Stevens, and Kay Yao. Also joining me on stage is another of our past presidents, Charlie Turner Thorne, who retired from coaching in 2022 after 25 seasons at Arizona State. Betty, who is often referred to as the godmother of women's basketball, retired as CEO in November 2001, but continued to serve until her death in 2014 as consultant to her successor, Beth Bass. Under Betty's leadership, the WBCA expanded its focus to include advocacy for the sport and its coaches, recognition of coaches, student athletes, and other persons who contribute to the growth of the sport through an extensive awards program and the development of coaches as leaders, teachers, and mentors to their student athletes. But Beth led the association from 2001 until 2014, and too left an indelible impression, growing the WBCA's revenue from corporate sponsorships and starting new initiatives such as So You Want to Be a Coach, our longest running educational program, and the WBCA Pink Zone, which today is known as Play for K. Both Betty and Beth are members of this Hall of Fame as well. I succeeded Beth in 2014, and I'm about to begin my 10th year leading the WBCA. Boy, how time flies. Under my leadership, we've strengthened our relationships with governing bodies, improved our use of technology, and modernized our governance so that we can better serve our member coaches and our sport. All of it combined helped us weather the two most challenging years in our association's history, the COVID-19 pandemic. Strife within the coaching profession led to our founding. Overcoming adversity outside the profession is the challenge we face today. Come what may, the WBCA family of coaches remains committed to changing lives, building leaders, and growing the game. We thank you.
Our second award of the evening is for the love of the game, presented to the Dust Bowl girls. Yeah. What a story. Lydia Reeder is not able to join us tonight, but sent a message to everyone.
Good evening. I am so grateful to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame for honoring the Oklahoma Presbyterian College Cardinals and Dust Bowl girls with the Love of the Game Award. Dust Bowl Girls is an epic sports story about the OPC Cardinals' first season together. They were called Little Church Schoolgirls by sports writers, and they were always the underdog no matter how many games they won. In the 1931-32 season, they overcame many hardships to become true champions and inspirational heroes. This story is part of my own family's legacy. Sam Babb, the charismatic coach of the Cardinals, was my great-uncle. He traveled the countryside recruiting the best players and offering them financial aid to attend college, which was unheard of at the time. Back then, every small town in Oklahoma had both a boys' and girls' basketball team, even if they had to play on an outdoor court. Attending Friday night games was as important as going to church on Sunday. The OPC Cardinals were all poor farm girls from this desolate land called the Dust Bowl. They escaped that life and went to college because they were really smart and really good at basketball. The players included Lucille Thurman, a shy 16-year-old farm girl from a tiny dot on the map called Cookie Town. At nearly 6 feet tall, she gave the Cardinals an edge on height and precision. And Doll Harris, the tiny but powerful forward whose father was a poor tenant farmer, part Cherokee and part Irish, Doll brought speed and bravado to the Cardinals. Doll and the famous athlete Babe Didrikson, who got her start playing basketball, became notorious rivals. Coach Babb worked his players hard and taught them perseverance, sacrifice, and teamwork. Everyone participated. As Coach Babb would always say, no team is better than its poorest substitute. The Cardinals practiced every morning before classes from 4 a.m. till 6 a.m. In addition, they ran at least 1 mile and had to make 100 free throws every day. During the season, they unexpectedly started winning game after game and made it to the national championship, where they faced an epic showdown with the Dallas Golden Cyclones and their best player, Babe Didrikson. That 1931-32 season, the Cardinals won 24 games in a row without losing, scoring a total of 1,119 points to the opposition's 493. Doll Harris scored 461 of the Cardinals' points herself. They became known as Invincible Girls during the Great Depression, a time of widespread hopelessness. These athletes were pioneers exploring the new territory of competitive sports for women. They were true champions who inspired thousands. Years ago, when I first started researching Dust Bowl Girls, I was fortunate to meet the surviving team members and hear their inspiring stories. The book could not have been written without the generous help from these athletes and their families. They truly deserve to be honored tonight. Thank you.
Accepting for the Love of the Game Award is Joyce Rice, former assistant coach, close friend of Doll Harris and the Dust Bowl girls.
On behalf of my mentor, Doll Forrest, and Lydia Reeder, I accept this with unbelievable gratitude. Thank you so very much.
Congratulations, Joyce. Thank you. During the Final Four in Dallas this year, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame announced a partnership with Smith College to name the Induction Trophy the Berenson. The Berenson Award is in recognition of the mother of women's basketball, Senda Berenson, Please join me in welcoming Kristen Hughes, Athletic Director of Smith College.
Dribble 3 times, stop, pivot, and pass. And no holding the ball for more than 3 seconds. Those were the instructions given in Alumni Gymnasium on the campus of Smith College before the first basketball game involving college women was played in 1892. Senda Berenson was hired to be the director of physical education from 1891 until 1911. And this was a time when women played mostly individual sports like swimming or tennis. So creating a team sport that was considered rigorous in nature was quite challenging. Miss Berenson did not believe in intercollegiate play. She also prohibited her players from losing their tempers or engaging in any form of yelling. So instead, the women sang rival songs during the game. And what a game it was. At Smith, there were 2 major events that happened each year. One was commencement, and the other was the freshman-sophomore interclass game. There was a line outside of Alumni Gymnasium just to get inside to watch the game, which speaks to how quickly this game for women took off. Marjorie Gain, a student who played on the 1898 team, is quoted as saying, "We talk basketball until we can't see straight." This game was central to the college lives of Smith women. In 1903, Miss Berenson published the basketball rulebook for women, which she would go on to publish for another 20 years. But as much as Senda Berenson promoted basketball as a way to achieve physical activity, she may have been wise well beyond her years in the real value in sport, which still holds true today. In a 1903 article published in the Boston Globe, Miss Berenson is quoted as saying, "Games are invaluable for women in that they bring out as nothing else just these elements that women find necessary today in their enlarged field of activities. Basketball is the game above all others that has proved the greatest value to them. This game develops physical and moral courage, self-reliance and self-control, the ability to meet success and defeat with dignity." On behalf of everyone at Smith College, we are so incredibly proud to be honoring the legacy of Senda Berenson through such an impactful relationship with the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Our basketball team this past season had received the #1 overall seed heading into the NCAA tournament, advancing to the Division III Women's Final Four for the first time in the history of our sport. Our head coach, Lynn Hersey, was named the National Coach of the Year, and our coaches are here with us tonight to celebrate this great sport of basketball, which originated on our campus. And although there was no singing, and definitely a lot of yelling within our program this season, I still think Miss Berenson would be quite proud. The mission of Smith College is to empower women. So celebrating tonight's Hall of Fame inductees with the Berenson Trophy sends a significant message to girls and women across the country about the power of sport. I want to thank the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame for their role in developing this relationship with Smith College and congratulate all of the incredible inductees this evening. We are very proud to be supporting the evident excellence in this room tonight. Thank you.
Smith College exists to push the world forward. We are a private college with a public conscience committed to educating students to solve the world's problems. Smith counts among its graduates innovative entrepreneurs, barrier-breaking scientists, athletes, policymakers, social justice leaders, and visionary artists. Learn more about Smith now at smith.edu.
Thank you, Kristen. We are so pleased to be in partnership with you. Wow, that's really exciting, the Berenson. Okay, we're gonna hand out some Berensons, all right? Now's the moment we're gonna get going here, all right? So, our first inductee served as the University of Texas Director of Women's Athletics. She developed the athletic program into a model for other schools to follow while leading them to 18 national championships in 6 different sports. Named to the Fox Sports 10 Most Powerful Women in Sports and the Sporting News 100 Most Influential People in Sports list. She was the CEO of the Women's Sports Foundation, and she is fast getting up here. From 92 to 2007. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Hall of Fame inductee, Donna Lopiano.
I am most grateful to be not inducted posthumously. But I'm even more grateful to have been an accident of history. I grew up in the right place, the right time, surrounded by the right people, to do things that most women never had a chance to do. My parents were first-generation Italian Americans who created their own modest wealth as restaurateurs. Neither graduated high school, and yet they brought up their children so that all of us knew that we were going to college to acquire the ticket of a college degree. A key that would open doors to lives our parents never experienced, but intuitively knew would be different and better. And of course, you never knew it at the time, but I grew up blessed to have parents who taught me the difference between being all you could be and all you should be. They taught me that generosity, always doing something to help others, delivered the greatest life satisfaction. They never burdened me with the heavy weight of sex role stereotyping. It was fine to be a tomboy, to play sports in an era when girls and women who played sports were considered by most to be unfortunate anomalies. So my family allowed me to be an accident of history. They encouraged my participation as an athlete, where every athlete learns that the difference between good and great is attention to detail and an extraordinary work ethic. At the age of 29, armed with the credentials of being an All-American athlete in a different sport and the PhD, I became the first director of women's athletics at the University of Texas at Austin. And again, an accident of history as one of only 9 women who were in control of their own athletic departments. Because the head football coach, who was also the UT Austin athletic director, did not want to be responsible for raising the money to fund women's athletics. Being at Texas was also an accident of history because I was hired by the first woman president of that institution, who herself was a victim of sex discrimination early in her career. She was someone unafraid of hiring a brash Yankee who was definitely not a female of the genteel Southern persuasion. Neither was she afraid to tell the architect of the then half-built basketball arena on campus to process a $4 million construction change order to ensure that all Irwin Center facilities were equal for men's and women's basketball. So it was in the 1970s and 80s that I found myself among other women who were also accidents of history, working in the oasis of Austin, Texas, the only liberal city in the state at the time, home to the largest percentage of female attorneys per capita in the United States, with a female governor named Ann Richards, who, with her granddaughter Lily and former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan, sat at the scorer's table and seldom missed a women's basketball game. One of the first women I met in Austin was attorney Sarah Weddington, who at the same age of 29 argued and won Roe versus Wade before the US Supreme Court, changing the lives of women forever. There we were, the right people together at the right time in the right place who supported the fledgling women's athletic program at UT because we were never under the thumb of men's athletics. Longhorn women's basketball grew up unrestrained by football or men's basketball priorities or by those in power who fought against the adoption of Title IX or those who, post-Title IX and to this day, practice the most artful, covert discrimination against women in sport. We were free to develop our own version of college athletics. As an administrator faced with having to develop a flagship sport that would demonstrate the viability of women's athletics, basketball was the easiest choice in the world in Texas, which, like Iowa, boasted legendary 6-player women's basketball at the high school level, at the college level, the Whalen Baptist Flying Queens. My first hire, and probably the reason I'm here, was Jody Conrad. Rightfully my Hall of Fame ticket, a woman who bridged the gap between the Yankee and Texas cultures, but most importantly, was an extraordinary coach. Growing women's basketball at Texas was a team sport. Our all-female support staff sold 8,000 season tickets, came in second in total basketball attendance in the Southwest Conference among all men's and women's teams, produced All-American and Olympic athletes in all sports with 90% graduation rates, and all sports ranked in the nation's top 10. We were an extraordinary team of competent and passionate women who created our own accident of history, showing others how intercollegiate athletics should, rather than could, be run. This Hall of Fame honor is really their honor, and I am grateful to accept on their behalf. Thank you.
Congratulations, Donna. Our second inductee played for Illinois State, the Redbirds, and was one of the most decorated players in the history of their program and the Missouri Valley Conference. A two-time Wade Trophy finalist, a two-time WBCA All-American, and a two-time Kodak All-Region selection. She was a gold medalist on the 1984 Women's Olympic Basketball team. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Hall of Fame inductee, Cathy Boswell.
Donna, that was amazing. You're a hard act to follow, but that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. So first of all, congratulations to my fellow inductees of the class of 2023. I'm just honored to be here with you. Thank you for my wonderful, incredibly loving parents, Henry and Clarice Boswell, who are celebrating 65 years of marriage this year. Also, I'd like to mention that my beautiful, brave mother, who underwent the successful operation of the cochlear implant just 1 month ago, is able to hear my speech tonight. And our family is so proud of her. My family is my world, you're my everything, and you have loved me, cared for me, encouraged me to always pursue my dreams with all my heart and to never look back. I love you more. To my beautiful, beautiful siblings, here we go with the C's, Connie, Claudia, and Christopher, and all my amazing, amazing family, special big hugs to those who could make it here tonight. I will not be able to achieve anything without your love, patience, and support throughout the years. I love you all so very much. We love you. Thank you to my escort, my high school coach, teacher, and my friend, Jo Strite. She encouraged me to dream big. She and Coach Connie Kozakowski led our team, the Joliet West Tigers, downstate to the first ever IHSA Girls Basketball Championship in Illinois. The games were held at Illinois State University in 1977. We didn't win that year, but it did light a fire under us, and we came back with a vengeance in 1978 and won the championship at the University of Illinois. Shout out to my Tiger teammates and all my classmates and the many, many fans who cheered us on. Coach Strite not only helped me to prepare mentally and physically for summer basketball competitions like the Prairie State Games in Illinois and the USA Sports Festivals, but she was instrumental in helping me with my transition to college at 16. Yes, college at 16, yikes. I was then handed over to my presenter, Dr. Jill Hutchinson, coach at Illinois State University and Hall of Fame inductee, as we all know. Coach Hutch is my second mom, my mentor, and my friend. And I believe there were some serious conversations taking place between my mom and dad, Joe and Jill, about the whole ordeal about me graduating early, of which I never knew. But they all managed to get on the same page and help me to accomplish my dreams. I'd have to say, though, meeting my shiro, U.S. Olympian, Charlotte Lewis, and Redbird great sealed the deal for me. May she rest in peace. Coach Hutch, together with Coach Melinda Fisher, and my favorite trainer of all, Schneeds, I know you're out there, they took a shy, pigtailed 16-year-old kid with big hopes and dreams and taught me a higher level of work ethic so that I could strive to be better than the best in everything I did. They not only pushed me to excel in the classroom and on the court, but they guided me along the way and showed me how to manage the many, many challenges that college life presented. So thank you for those 4 years of life experiences. I want to take a moment to acknowledge that this year, 2023, we celebrate the 40th anniversary of winning the gold medal at the 1983 World University Games in Edmonton, Canada. Jill Hutchison and Sylvia Hatchell were at the helms as our coaches, and they led our team to win the gold medal. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for that amazing, amazing experience. To all of my teammates, coaches, close friends, and the many, many fans all the way from Troy Junior High School, Joliet West High School, and Illinois State University, I gotta give a shout out to my Redbirds. You have all played an important part in my life and my career, and I would not be standing here today if it were not for you pushing me and believing in me. I will never, ever forget you. My dream was to become an Olympian, and that dream came true. Of course, the road wasn't easy at all. Every summer, there were countless competitive trials with top players from all over the United States. I know, Lindsey, you know about that. Everyone was fighting for one of 12 spots on any team. But from the moment I was chosen to participate in the USA Junior Olympics, onto the national select teams and the World University teams, I knew that I had to keep digging down deeper, practicing harder, and getting better with every day. I knew what I needed to do mentally and physically to stand above the competition. And with the support of my family, my coaches, and my teammates, it finally happened. I was chosen to compete on the 1984 Olympic team. And to make the experience even better, the games were held in Los Angeles, California, on our home court. We didn't care, though. We didn't care who was there to compete or who wasn't, because we all put our hearts and souls into the endless hours of practices and pre-games to prepare to go down in history as the first team to win the gold medal for the USA women's basketball. Thank you all for cheering us on and making that dream come true for America. Thank you to my teammates. We miss you, Annie D. And the late, great, incredible coaching staff of Pat Summitt, Kay Yao, Nancy Darsh, Betty Jo Graber, and our trainer, Tina Bonsi. May you all rest in power. We miss you. We miss you. I would like to acknowledge and thank all of my international coaches and teammates and friends. For over a 28-year span, I was blessed and given the opportunity to play professional basketball overseas. From Germany to Spain, the Canary Islands in there, Italy, France, Greece, and on down to Brazil. I was fortunate enough to get paid to do what I love most. But the most incredible experiences I've had in my long career overseas have been learning about the different cultures, the lifestyles, and yes, the different languages. This is for you. Here we go. Vielen Dank. Merci beaucoup. Grazie a tutti. Obrigado, amigos amigos. That's for you guys. I've made an incredible, incredible lifelong friendship And those friendships I will treasure forever. I love and appreciate you all. Lastly, as we part, I'd like to leave you all with one of my poems I wrote just for the occasion. It's nice to receive an applause, a pat on the back, a ring, or a plaque. But it feels even better that I can share my journey, my story, to make an impact. As a kid in the 70s, playing sports with the boys in the neighborhood, I believed I would have the same opportunities as them, or at least that's what I understood. I never realized how lucky I was to be on the cusp of Title IX, or how the biggest part of my dream from that point on was starting to align. I learned more about Title IX history and all the hardships endured. I shook my head in disbelief of the inequality, and I thought how absolutely absurd. But I used this to fuel me and push me throughout my entire career, breaking through every barrier, prejudice, and barrier without any fear. So I say we need to tell our stories of these legends of the past, because all young athletes need to understand that what exists now must keep moving forward, not backwards to last. We must honor our trailblazers who fought so bravely for our rights, for their names and faces should still be shining forever bright. I stand on the shoulders of legends, and all I ask is that you remember our names, our stories and our names, for it's truly a great honor tonight to be inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Congratulations. I know a lot of proud Redbirds right now. Our third inductee was a 38-year official, having officiated an average of more than 85 games per year in her career. Selected to officiate in the inaugural season of the WNBA, officiated WNBA League Championship Series from 2000 to 07, along with the WNBA League Finals from 02 to 06. She also officiated in the NCAA Final Four championship games 11 times and semifinals 7 times. She's officiated in the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, the Big East, the Big 12, Conference USA, OVC, and the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Hall of Fame inductee, Lisa Mattingly. Woo! Wait a minute. Okay, now we're ready. I'm just always ready to throw the ball up, so here we go. Those are 2 tough acts to follow right there. I've never used a teleprompter. I'm usually from the hip. They cautioned me about that, so let's get started. I'll usually run a little long. But I'd like to thank my lovely presenter, Patty Broderick, a Hall of Famer to all of you all, but to me, a great friend and mentor, most of all, a great friend. My escort, Tina Napier, my ride or die. Yeah, Tina lets me do a lot of venting, talking about all the ills in basketball officiating and my particular situation for that day, and she still invites me to dinner from time to time, so I appreciate that so much. You never know how valuable that is to me. Thanks to Jenna for bringing color and adventure into my life and to apparently making me a whole lot more likable to others. I have been called a couple of words that start with a B and end with some other letters that I won't speak of right now. But I want to thank all of my family here tonight. My great-nephew Parker was going to be here, so that's in the speech right now, so he couldn't make it. He had another engagement. I'd like to thank Dolly Parton for walking me in. Yeah, everybody gotta love Dolly in Knoxville, for sure. And speaking of that, you know, refereeing is not 9 to 5, so I thought that was really an appropriate song, plus it's a little jivey, so, and I'm a little bit country too. Yeah, really. By the way, in case I forget to tell you all later, I had a really great time tonight, so we'll move on. That's a shout out to my favorite movie, Pretty Woman. Many thanks to the band of caretakers of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame for inviting me to this great party. You all don't know what you've done. I'm going to come back every year and be the first one in the door. So thank you very much for that. I'd like to thank Dana Hart and Ashley Meeks for all your direction and not getting too aggravated with all of us, especially Carolyn and I as we were dragging up the rear. So thank you. There's just so many people to talk to. Speaking of walking in, I kept walking down here looking over my shoulder thinking that somebody was going to stop me before I got to my seat. I kept expecting to hear, well, the referees are at the monitor, and upon further review, the call is reversed. Thank you all, but it looks like the call on the floor stands. So I'm happy. I'd like to congratulate my sister inductees out there. It was hard to follow Donna and Cathy. It's hard to go before Carolyn and Lindsey, but somebody had to be in there, Patty said, so it's me. So here we go. You all are forever a part of my history, and thank you for letting me be a little part of your all's. Thank you all for making it such a wonderful experience. Hey, are there any referees in the house? We took 150 of our closest friends to a bowling party last night, and we had a good time. So thank all of you all that made it in from out of town and from all over the place. We really appreciate it. From all over the country, you made my night. A very smart friend of mine once said, when I asked her for some helpful hints about sharing information with administrators, she said, "Lisa, keep it substantive but succinct." Not my forte. However, this quote kind of sums up my officiating career. Find something you love to do so much that you do it for free and do it so well that they pay you for it. That has been my journey. It started out as I needed to make a little bit of extra money. On a Saturday, I would make $12 a game, cash in an envelope. That's frowned upon now to get cash in an envelope. But 5 games, $12 a game, $60, you do the math. I didn't even have a real referee shirt. If any of y'all remember Fashion Shop and the grab tables, I had some kind of button-up situation with black and white stripes that became visibly faded over the years. So anyway, flash forward to several years to going to D1 camps. And after 4 or 5 years of what I thought was, man, I'm going to kick this can on down the road and go somewhere else, Patty says to me, quote, "Well, you can referee camp games." So she hired me in the Division I. So that's when my Division I career started. And then there's this forever remembered and often exaggerated retelling of a night of tequila drinking. But due to the limited time that we have here tonight, we won't go into all the details of that. It's often exaggerated, let me put it that way. Patty will tell you all about it. I worked a handful of games in the ABL, got to see some of the best players in the ABL, had no business being there. They didn't give you a rule book, I'm not sure they had one at the time, and just said, go referee, make up your own rules. Teresa Edwards got fouled on a play one day on a 3-point fast break, or 3-point shot after a fast break, and probably got knocked down by somebody else, and I reached down to help her up, and she smacked my hand away. Welcome to the big leagues, Lisa. So didn't make that mistake again. I'd like to thank, then along came the WNBA in 1997, and I probably had no business being in that league either, but thanks to Dee and her staff for bringing me in and for just elevating my game, my confidence, everything just went through the roof after that for me. Opportunity, and I think some famous person, some good friend of mine said, and you didn't bump your head. So I knew who to listen to and when not to go out of my way to call something in front of one of the veterans. So
For me, this is a very unique experience. Obviously, getting to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, my mind is blown. Never thought anything like this would ever happen. Wasn't in my anywhere, in my brain anywhere. But getting to walk through that front door while people are applauding, different sensation. Different. Yeah. We go in the back door before everybody gets there. We go out the back door after everybody leaves. So, yeah, I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. And for y'all at home, do not adjust your television sets. This is a pink suit that I'm in. Usually it's black, gray, anything that's not a school color, as not to show any favoritism. So, but pink is it. And I get the question all the time, what's the most memorable game or time in your career? There have been a lot of great moments, great games, so many great coaches and players. I was talking to Joan Cronin the other night. Many of my greatest firsts were here at the University of Tennessee, as luck would have it. But I believe it boils down to the people I've been fortunate enough to work with and for. I worked with most all of the great officials and coordinators in our game, worked for the best coaches and players. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. I get to continue to work with the great leaders in our sport since I'm a coordinator of officials now. So now I'm the one, yeah. I put a lot of coordinators in a bad way for some of the things I may have done and said, and now I'm getting payback. So many of you in this audience, whom I can't see anybody's face right now, and I can't get my tongue off the roof of my mouth, but many of you all have shown me great grace when perhaps I deserved it the least. And you have always been there to give me encouragement when I needed it the most. And that goes from the bottom up and top down. I appreciate it so much. I've had the best seat in the house for 30 plus years, and I wouldn't change a single thing. Well, maybe a few calls here and there. Some of you all probably have that written down in a journal somewhere. I apologize profusely for past transgressions. But nothing in life is of any value unless it's shared with others. Thank you all for being here tonight to share this special moment with me and all the inductees. You've proven again one thing I always say. I'd rather be lucky than good, and I am. Thank you all. Thank you.
Lisa, we're so glad that you and 150 of your friends got to use the front door tonight. Our fourth inductee began her coaching career right here under the Hall of Fame coach, Pat Summitt at the University of Tennessee. She was head coach at Purdue University from 97 to 99, the Orlando Miracle from 99 to 01, the University of Florida from 02 to 07. She won the NCAA championship in 1999 while at Purdue and was the first African-American coach to win a national championship in women's basketball. Named the USBWA Coach of the Year, WBCA Coach of the Year, AP College Basketball Coach of the Year, Naismith College Coach of the Year in 1989, originally joined ESPN in 01, returned in 07 as a basketball analyst for college and professional basketball, and they're standing before I'm even finished. Carolyn, ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Hall of Fame inductee, Carolyn Peck.
Okay. Now, first of all, I'm 6'4" and I can't see the teleprompter. Not that it even mattered. I gave them one speech, and I brought another one. Now, I want to congratulate the class that I get to go in with. I am honored to go in with these 4 other women. And I know all of their history, and I got to watch most of what they have done. And for what you have done, I want to say thank you. I also want to thank my escort, my handsome husband. And he helped me write this speech. And my presenter, Kimmel walking in, no, she was not taking drink orders, but Mickey DeMoss. Mickey got me into this profession. It is a great honor to be recognized and inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. I want to thank my entire family. Now, my immediate family going to be part of stories that I tell, but my mother and father are here. I had to move them to Nashville and got to bring them home. I also have my 2 brothers who are, as growing up, understand, my youngest brother is 6'7", my oldest brother 6'5", so I had no choice but to compete. But I have family here from California, Vegas, Canada, South Carolina, North Carolina, where? Alabama. Let them know, Angela. Absolutely. So I am thrilled to be supported by so many friends and family to be here. But let's get started. I'm being inducted because of coaching. And people have asked me, who was your biggest inspiration? And I'm going to tell you, I had a great coach at a very early age. It's probably about 6, 7, because when I got home from school, I couldn't wait for my father to get home from work. He would come in, he would sit in his lazy boy, and I would be standing 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door, waiting for him to say, go. And I would sprint as hard as I could to get to the end of the driveway, get the Knoxville Sentinel, and sprint back. And I go, Daddy, how fast? He'd go, you did that in 13 seconds. Well, tomorrow I'll beat that time. One day we did it, and I came back, and he got to doing something else, and I said, Dad, how fast? And he was like, 7, 8, 9. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're not paying attention. He said, you got to have an inner clock. You know, if it was up to my mother, I would have been nominated to go into the Hall of Fame at the date of birth. But you have to be patient, and there's time. You know, I wanted to get into sports, and I wanted to compete because I got a big brother, Stephen Peck, the second. Stephen would be playing, he was on the swim team, played baseball, basketball, and he's bringing home all these trophies and ribbons, and I'm like, I want to get some trophies. So it was because of him that I got into sports. But going back to my dad coaching, I didn't know that coaching was in my future. But you know what? Many of you here today are great coaches, and you're having an impact that you cannot even imagine. And I'm not just talking about sports. I sat and wondered, why me? How did I get here? I remember being taught by Thelma Gann. She's my high school English teacher. Outlines wasn't my thing. She said, Carolyn, you never have a 1 without a 2. So let's get to how this all happened. Did y'all hear my walk-in song? Yeah. Lizzo? Yeah. It's about damn time? Yeah. Well, this is how it all started. Right down the road at Jefferson Elementary, yeah, I was a little elk. Went to Jefferson Middle, and then to Jefferson County High School. Hey, y'all know what? My high school, from my high school, that team is here. This year's team is here. Go Patriots! To getting a scholarship and going on to Vanderbilt University, to meeting Mickey DeMoss, who said, Carolyn, have you ever thought about coaching? And I lied and said, oh, yeah. And she said, well, we may have an opening at Tennessee. Let me go back and talk to Pat, and we'll see how that works out. Well, after Mickey and Holly got together, after we worked camp, and we all ordered a Miller Lite, and they talked to Pat, and she hired me. To then working for Pat Summit, that allowed me to go to a Black Coaches Convention in Orlando. And while I'm sitting there sat John Chaney, George Ravlin, Marianna Washington, Marianna Freeman, Marion Washington, sitting there with Coach Vivian Stringer, and Coach Stringer called me over, and she said, Carolyn, you're the first Black woman that Pat Summit has ever hired on her staff. I had never really, look, I grew up right down the road, really hadn't paid attention to that. I just love the Lady Vols. And Coach Stringer said to me, with this opportunity comes great responsibility. I didn't know what that meant. But then I went on from there, made the tough decision to leave Tennessee and go to Kentucky. Well, the year I left Tennessee, well, they do win a national championship. To Nell Fortner giving me a call and inviting me to be on her staff at Purdue. I was in Utah. I had never been to West Lafayette, but when Nell Fortner called, I was like, yep, I'm in. Just tell me how to get to West Lafayette. To Nell Fortner recommending me to be the head coach at Purdue, where I became the youngest, the fastest, and the first Black woman to win a national title, and it's the only national title in the Big Ten. Yeah, my husband wanted to say, still. You know, while I was at Purdue, as an assistant, Carrie Cremines and Pam Stackhouse were assistants with me, and they agreed to stay. To going on to have an opportunity to be not only the head coach, but the general manager in the WNBA for the Orlando Miracle that are now the Connecticut Sun. And that's where I had the opportunity to hire my little brother, Michael. Now little, he's 6'7". That went on with me to the University of Florida, where Carrie Cremines, Charlene Thomas Swinson, Michelle Daly, Jose Mori were all assistants for me. To then even returning back to my alma mater at Vanderbilt to be an assistant coach for a former player of mine, Stephanie White. But what's not lost in all of that is my inspiration, and I go back to Coach C. Vivian Stringer, who was the first Black woman to coach in the national championship game. Coach Stringer, boy, she could strut that sideline with Cheney State. But I go back to that Mount Rushmore of coaches that were there, Marion Washington, Marianna Freeman, George Ravlin, and those Black coaches sitting there, so inspiring. Getting back to, with that opportunity comes great responsibility. What do you think that meant? At the time, I thought that was about winning ball games. That wasn't it. See, in 1999, after that final buzzer, Robin Roberts said, "History has been made. I was asked what it felt like to be the first black woman to win a national title. And at the time, I really couldn't comprehend. It was such a whirlwind. And I really, at the time, I felt that no one cared. There wasn't the fanfare that had been surrounding all of the other champions. It wasn't until 18 years later when Dawn Staley pulled out that twine. It was a piece of the net from our national championship after she won hers, and she shared the story of me giving her the net, and she reminded the country of what we did. You see, it really didn't matter about being the first until there was another. Today I smile, not just that Dawn has won 2, that this year for the first time we had 4 black coaches in the Sweet 16. But I smile for the progress being made, seeing the diversity in the hiring process. And you're not just given an opportunity, but a chance to build successful programs. See, Dawn Staley and Kenny Brooks, they took 2 jobs that most people may have looked at and said, those are bad jobs, and they made them good ones. Kudos to their administration for taking their blinders off and making great hires. We can all benefit from taking off blinders and look around, because you might be missing something very special. Responsibility, it wasn't just to go out and win ball games, but it was to share. Not only to share, but to support and pull along. I don't want to spend the rest of this time just talking about me, for we all, if you slow down, for we all know no one is able to be successful by themselves. It is truly a team effort. With success, it takes part with the administration, the staff, players, managers, practice players, fans, the media, family, and the support system. I wish I could name them all, but they only gave me 7 minutes. But you think 7 minutes gonna control me? But let's get back to that 1999 championship. Yes, championships have been won before, but there's something special about being a first. I mean, there's a reason you celebrate Neil Armstrong. He was the first man to walk on the moon. Like Sanja Hogue being the first woman to win the first national championship game. There are a lot of firsts that happened this season. The ratings for women's basketball, off the chart. Let's look at what happened when blinders were taken off. During COVID, led to the exposure of the inequities of the NCAA tournament. The diversity of marketing of female athletes. We got our women on commercials. More televising of women's basketball games and putting them in prime slots and putting them on network. I've been saying for years that women's basketball is an untapped revenue stream. Who's making money now? The evolution of women's basketball is lit, and I'm blessed to be a part of it. What did Lizzo say? You better let them know. See, I know what it means to be the benefactor from blinders being taken off and the broadening of lenses. I'm honored to be a part of this amazing class, but I'm even more honored to be inducted during this amazing time. Yeah, my proudest accomplishment and most significant contribution, and probably the reason I'm on this stage today, is for winning a national championship, but it only seems appropriate to recognize the 1999 journey and who were along with me. My coaching staff, Carrie Cummings, Pam Stackhouse, Seth Cushkin. My players, Danielle Bird, Camille Cooper, Candy Crawford, Katie Douglas, Michelle Duhart, Ukari Fix, who was the most outstanding player of the Final Four, Kelly Z. Camara, Amy Schaefer, Stephanie White, who was the Wade Trophy recipient, and last but certainly not least, Tiffany Young. She was the light of our success, and we lost tragically just 2 months after winning the national championship, being killed by a drunk driver. Is it a coincidence? Tiffany Young wore number 23. As I said earlier, my mother would have inducted me, nominated me at birth, but it happened on this day in 2023. Thank you.
Smith College exists to push the world forward. We are a private college with a public conscience committed to educating students to solve the world's problems. Smith counts among its graduates innovative entrepreneurs, barrier-breaking scientists, athletes, policymakers, social justice leaders, and visionary artists. Learn more about Smith now at smith.edu.
Our final inductee. During her college career at the University of Minnesota, she compiled a record of 80 wins and 43 losses. She was a 4-time WNBA World Championship team member, played in the 09, 2011, 13, 14, 15 WNBA All-Star Games, a gold medalist in 2012 and in 2016 in the Olympics. Gold medalist in the 2010-2014 FIBA World Championship and 2002 World Championship for Young Women qualifying tournament. She was the first woman to be named the Minneapolis Star-Tribune Sports Person of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Hall of Fame inductee, Lindsey Whalen.
Debbie was sidelined for that game. Hey, I'm Lindsey. Good to see everybody. So I've been asked this a few times this weekend, what I'm going to do next, now that I'm not coaching at the moment. And Lisa, based on that applause and standing ovation, maybe I'm going to ref. Maybe I'll ref. Patty, I've got your number. I've got your number. I've got your number. I'm kidding. Thank you to the selection committee and to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame for this tremendous honor, and congratulations to Cathy, Donna, Lisa, Carolyn for this being in this class of 2023. It's an honor, a tremendous honor to be inducted with all of you wonderful, talented, beautiful women. Thank you to Val Ackerman, who we shared a stage roughly 19 years ago when you called my name for the 4th pick in the 2004 WNBA draft to the Connecticut Sun. So thank you so much, for being here and presenting me here today. I'd like to start off by thanking my family. My parents, Neil and Kathy, are here today. Yep. Brothers and sisters, Katie, Casey, Annie, and Thomas, who are watching from around the country and around the world today. Of course, my escort, my husband Ben, who's here today along with his parents, Dave and Sandy. Without all of your love and support, phone calls, FaceTime, shoulders to cry on, celebrations, home-cooked dinners, I would not be standing here today. I cannot thank you all enough for spending this evening with me and enjoying this special ride. To my longtime agent, Boris, who is here with me today, I cannot thank you enough. Yeah. At my last one of these, I primarily thanked Burger King, the fast food restaurant that some of you may have heard of, and most notably the Whopper and its younger cousin, the Junior Whopper. But in this speech, I'm going to change gears a little bit, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due, which is, of course, McDonald's and their delicious and nutritious Quarter Pounder with cheese. All kidding and trans fats aside, I'm going to thank my coaches. I'm going to thank all my coaches. Each and every coach that I had is still someone that I know I can pick up the phone and call at any point, at any hour. To me, calling someone coach is as an ultimate sign of respect. Yes, Fletch. And is someone who continually pours into others, even when they might not have much to give. Without my coaches pouring into me and making so many sacrifices, having a vision for me, even when I did not think it would be possible, I would not be here today. So I'll start with my high school coach, Andy Rosberg. He still coaches the football team in Hutchinson. He taught us how to play the game of basketball and not necessarily just run plays. I think that's something that's extremely important. He sacrificed many of his hours in the summer by opening up the gym from 8 a.m. to noon. I was there at 8 a.m. every day, Monday through Thursday. He would pick teams and we would play, boys and girls, and we would just play open gym. He would give different challenges to different players. For instance, can you win this game without scoring a single point? Just make your teammates better. Can you give them confidence to help your team win? It was like I said, it was girls and boys competing against each other, and still some of the best memories of my basketball career were in that gym back in Hutchinson. So thank you, Coach Rosberg. Yeah, round of applause. I had 3 coaches in 4 years in college. Cheryl Littlejohn recruited me and offered me a scholarship. Lady Vol recruited me, offered me a scholarship to my dream school to stay home at the University of Minnesota. My sophomore season, I was coached by Brenda Fries, now national championship winning coach at Maryland. That year, my sophomore year, ended up being a year that changed many of our college careers, going from roughly 1,000 fans, that's being very generous. It was probably 300-400 people, mostly our parents and families, you know, and managers and you know, so cheerleaders and things like that. To 11,000 fans at our games in that season and the NCAA tournament, yes. In 2002, she's one of the greatest motivators I've ever been around. She had us believing that we belonged in the NCAA tournament, which we achieved that year. So thank you, Coach Fries. Pam Borton coached me my final 2 years at the U of M. She instilled discipline and defense into us. I was hesitant on the defensive part at first, but she instilled that into us and is the reason we were able to make it to the Final Four. Pam went on to have a great coaching career at the U of M and is still a mentor of mine and someone I looked up to this day. Mike Tebow, Coach T, had the ominous task of taking me from my home state right after that Final Four run. He mainly had to convince my mom that he would take care of me all the way in Connecticut, drafted me in the WNBA. But Coach T taught me how to be a pro in my early 20s. He taught me how to watch film, take care of my body, prepare for games, how to run a team at a pro level, along with many other aspects of being a point guard in the WNBA. He and his family, his wife Nancy, his 2 kids, Carly and Eric, took me in as another member of their family when I was on the team, especially when I would recover from ankle surgeries and different off-season times in Connecticut. I'll always remember going to Carly and Eric's high school games and having dinner with Mike and Nancy after those games, hashing over their games, and then, of course, figuring out how we were going to compete in the WNBA that next season. So thank you, Coach T. Cheryl Reeve gave me and our team with the Minnesota Lynx the blueprint to be our very best selves and best players in the WNBA. Her vision created the Minnesota Lynx dynasty. Yes. That, thankfully, I was able to be a part of. 6 finals in 7 years, 4 WNBA championships is a time that I will never forget and taught me so many valuable lessons reaching the top as well as learning how to deal with adversity. Quick story, in 2011, we came off a disappointing yet learning year in 2010. Cheryl knew she needed more from me, so she gave me goals every practice. I loved practice, almost more than I loved the games. So she gave me a daily goal in practice. I was to average 15 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds in practice. Not the game, but practice, Allen Iverson, AI. So if I was to average those in practice, then I would be able to average those in the games, and therefore I would be one of the better point guards in the WNBA and lead our team. We didn't have any defensive stats. I'm not here because of my defense. But that team, Maya, Becky, Moan, Sil, Taj, J-Mac, Jim P., Shelly P., Chuck, our trainer, we all developed a special bond during those years, and it was because of Coach Reeves' vision. I cannot thank you enough, Coach. Earlier tonight, he was referred to as that guy from the Northeast, but Gino, Coach Ariema, took a chance on me prior to the 2012 or 2010 World Championships in the Czech Republic. He and I had several conversations during the training camp of that preparation for the World Championships. That was a month that really changed the trajectory of my career. We had several conversations, and he asked me numerous times if I really wanted to make that team, or if I just wanted to hang out with some of the best players in the world for a little while and then head home. And every time I said, yes, of course, yes, I do. We had this ongoing conversation for several weeks, and then when it came to the last week, the last game before preparations for the World Championships, again, he took me aside before a game in Spain and said, do I want to make this team? Again, I said, yes, I do. I want to make this team. And he said, okay, we'll go out there with Diana. Sue was still playing the WNBA Finals, and you play like you should be on this team. And I did. I went out there, led our team, played my best, and the rest is history. So thank you so much, Gino. Carol Callan, I have to thank Carol Callan, who was not a coach of mine, but was a huge influence and a huge reason why I'm here today. I cannot thank you all enough for having such a tremendous impact on me and being a reason why I'm here today. Let's see. Let's scroll down a little bit more. There we go. Last thing, I promise, we got to get to these parties and things. Yeah, it is not lost on me that I would not be here without the generations before me and their investment in our great game. Possibly none other more important than the great Pat Summitt, who I know whose home we're in. I read her book during my first year of college coaching, and there's still lessons that I think of today about toughness, work ethic, belief in yourself, and the list goes on. It's because of the generations of women and the generation that I was able to be part of that I believe, as Carolyn said, our game is at an all-time high and is at a significantly prosperous place. Coming off one of the best NCAA tournaments this past March and April, with many young stars emerging, and now going into the opening weekend. Good luck at training camp, everybody who's starting their WNBA seasons, right? I believe that our game has never been in a better place. So I'm grateful to have played a small part in this great history of women's basketball. Thank you all. It's an honor to be here with you this evening. Thank you so much.
Where you begin has everything to do with where you finish. We raise tomorrow's leaders on today's playgrounds. Then, we get to celebrate their greatest achievements on one of the greatest stages. The AAU James E. Sullivan Award honors America's top athlete.
Amateur athletes put so much hard work into what they do. I feel like this is one of the awards that really recognizes that.
It all happens under the fall landscape of the city that never sleeps. This is the AAU.
Hey guys, I'm Olivia Loveday, and this is The Heart of the Athlete. You have heard many names tonight, Most are women who played their hearts out to get here. Some got here by teaching women how to play their hearts out, but none of them, not one of them, knew there would ever be a here, a place to honor them, or a night such as this. They played on because they were who they were, and inside them, the heart of the athlete would let them do no less. Thank you.
All right, what a class, right? How fun is this? So the Hall of Fame has gained a coach, a contributor, an official, and a couple of really good players. We have remembered the Dust Bowl girls and celebrated the Women's Basketball Coaches Association contributions to our game. Thank you for being a part of the Hall of Fame ceremony tonight. Thank you to all our sponsors, especially Smith College and the Berenson. That Berenson's pretty cool. Yeah. As a not-for-profit, the Hall depends on you to help us carry out our mission, so we need your help to honor, celebrate, and promote this great game. Let's welcome back the class of 2023 inductees. Come on out here, y'all. Stay right there. All right, another round of applause, please. All right, let's get this celebration.
Welcome to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in Knoxville, Tennessee. For more than 20 years, the Hall has been preserving the history of the game. The coaches, the players, the trailblazers of the game. Legends are enshrined in the only facility of its kind dedicated to all levels of women's basketball, from the early days to the modern game. Our exhibits showcase and educate visitors from across the world. At the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, we honor the past, celebrate the present, and promote the future.